Did anyone start a new job over the pandemic? Anybody quit their old job?
Yeah.
You people? All right, I did the same myself. I went from working at a hardware store to working at a whiskey shop. And it's so nice to work at a place where I actually use the products. Because my old job, people would stop me and be like, is this a good lawnmower? And I would say, I don't know, I don't have a yard. But you must have heard something about it, right? You must have gotten feedback. I'm like, oh, yeah, totally, lots of feedback. I heard this thing really hates grass. Like if a machine could be racist against grass, that's this lawnmower. This is the one you want. Now I get, is this good whiskey? Yes, it is. Very good. Fuck potato. I am from Lancaster County, Pennsylvania originally.
Yeah.
Oh, a few people from out that way. All right. So I'm from a town called Ephrata, which is a place where middle school sex ed is just the word don't. There's no knowledge, there's no help, it's just glares and God and judgment. And when I was in 7th grade, they had us do the take a fake baby home assignment. Anyone who's ever had to do that kind of thing? Now, this would have been like 1998 or so it's not like, it's more than a sack of flour, but it's not like some like Bluetooth T1000, like thing that I assume kids have now. It's this big hunk of plastic that vaguely resembles a human child. And periodically, it will go, "Mrap, mrap." Have you ever had to change the battery on a smoke alarm? Just imagine that just shoved in the kid. And like I said, it wasn't very advanced, so it didn't it didn't have sensors to say it needs fed, it needs changed. The only way to stop the mrap is in the center of the baby's back, right where the spinal cord would be. There is a large keyhole, and you are given a larger metal key that you must then impale into the child and twist until it cries no more. So I think I'm going to be a really good parent someday. I was really kind of flattered they made me do this assignment though, because that means my teachers in 7th grade thought I might be getting someone pregnant sometime soon. Because let me tell you, 37-year-old me isn't getting anyone pregnant anytime soon. 7th grade me, not happening. There's a lot of reasons I'm not going to have kids probably. A few months ago, a friend of mine invited me to go to a Pride event because she said, you're a really good ally, but also you have a really low sex drive. I think you might be asexual. And I thought about it for a bit. I mean, there was that time my therapist told me that most of his clients have my sex drive, they wouldn't need therapy. Which is a very backhanded compliment, and this close to being a HIPAA violation. But the whole time I was there, I had this really weird imposter syndrome because, like, regardless of how little I care about sex, to me, providers people have been persecuted, people have been held back, and otherwise, I'm still a cis white dude, and no one's ever come after me being like, hey, that guy's generally indifferent to fucking. Let's kick his ass. I did more research on the topic though, and I found out there are 2 other terms that I guess better apply to me, which are gray sexual and demisexual, which means you're very rarely interested in sex. But I don't like those terms because I don't like the way they sound. Like gray sexual to me sounds like a Lord of the Rings sex wizard. Like, behold, I'm Zakdoth the Grey. Why don't you come to my room where the magic doesn't happen? And demisexual makes me think demigod, like Hercules, like some, like, oh, Hercules, you've saved our village. How can we repay you? I don't know. Do you want to get a pizza and watch Doctor Who? He's right outside, you know. Because Doctor Who's a time traveler. Hercules didn't have a TV. Come on, get on the group. Get on the group. The last time I went back home to Lancaster County to visit my family, my mom really wanted me to come back, and so she bought me a direct flight from Pittsburgh International to Lancaster Regional Airport. If you ever had to put your ID card through a butter churner, like that's the kind of tech you're dealing with. My flight was at 7, so I think, all right, I need to be there by like 5:30, and if you really want to test someone's friendship, ask them to drop you off at the airport at 5 a.m. You can go to your best friend and they're like, oh man, I'm ride or die, I'm up for whatever. Like, well, that's great, because I need a ride. And they're like, oh, I'd love to help, but I had plans to die then. Totally would have helped you otherwise. So I get to the airport at 5 a.m. I'm walking around trying to find this terminal for a thing called Sun Air, which I can't find anywhere. So I go to a proper airline and just say, I'm 36, my mom bought me a ticket and I can't find where to go. Can you help me? They're like, oh yeah, you're looking for Sun Air. Go to the international baggage claim, hang a left. You'll go through a labyrinth, there's a Minotaur. He hasn't had his coffee yet though, so it should be pretty easy to get by him. And then you'll find Sun Air. So I go through the labyrinth, I kill the Minotaur, I find Sun Air. And Sun Air doesn't have a proper check-in area. They have a wooden folding table. The kind you would powerbomb someone through. And their sign is a dot matrix printer paper sign with the holes still on it that says Sun Air. And there's no one at the table. But there's a sign up that says, if you need help, call this number. So I call the number, and I expect to get a voicemail like, welcome to Sun Air customer service. You find out your identity's been stolen, press 1. But I don't get that. I get a voicemail that just goes, yeah, you got Jeff, leave a message. And now at 5:30 in the morning, I have to figure out, is Jeff Sun Air? Or am I the asshole calling Jeff on a Saturday morning at 5:30 and ruining his weekend? So I go back through the labyrinth again, I go back to the person I talked to, I'm like, yeah, Jeff isn't answering his phone. Is there anything else you can do? And she's like, I think I know how to work their terminal, let me go check it out. She goes to the terminal, starts taking my info, and goes, well that's not good. And I begin to panic because, true story, when I was in college, a girlfriend of mine had her passport stolen in Europe, which got her put on the terrorist watch list. We would send each other letters back and forth. I got 3 letters from her that had been opened and resealed with official government tape. So I turned my letters to her into word searches. It's really hard to spell jihad diagonally in a love note, but I made it work. But luckily it wasn't that. She just said they haven't had their seating chart made up yet, so you'll have to wait until someone's here. So I wait. She's like, when's your flight? My flight's at 7 o'clock. And she goes, oh, they won't even be here until 6:30. So 6:30 comes, a person with a sun on their t-shirt walks by and just go, are you Jeff? Please, you look like a Jeff. She wasn't Jeff. But she starts taking my info, she weighs my bag, and then says, how much do you weigh? I'm like, why do you need to know how much I weigh? And she's like, well, it's a small plane, we need to sit people based on weight. I'm like, wait, but you weighed my bag! And you're taking my word on how out of shape I am. So she gives me my stuff. I rush through security. I go out to get to the plane, and it's this tiny little single propeller plane that looks like it survived World War I. Like, I think the Wrong brothers built it, basically. And the co-pilot's there, and I give him my stub, and I say, okay, where should I sit? And he goes, oh, just sit wherever. To which I said, no, don't you understand? If I sit in the wrong seat, we could all die. So now I'm on a watch list. And the flight takes off. And I'm used to being on like major jets where if you want to get to the pilot and the co-pilot, there's like this giant door. And Gandalf is standing behind you, you can't pass, and it's made out of Wolverine's bones. This thing didn't even have a beaded curtain. Like, the porn section of old video stores had more security than this plane. And then as we get above the clouds, the co-pilot pulls out a paper map. Which means they had to put the plane in phone mode. Because my phone is more advanced than this thing I'm on. And the worst part of all, there was a hornet on the plane who really didn't want to be there. Like, I think he had to deal with Jeff too. And the hornet is bashing its head against the glass trying to get out. And I realized this is how I die. Because the pilot's going to get stung by the hornet, and he's allergic, and the co-pilot won't know because he's reading the goddamn paper map. And I'm going to reach over because there's no security to tap the pilot and make sure he's okay. And we're going to crash because I'm sitting on the wrong seat. And what I'm saying, folks, is I have been the ghost of Zach Funk. But we've got a great show coming up for you, full of actual live comedians.